Hey, this is the Wednesday warm-up. This is basically 2 drawing exercises we're going to do together today. So get your tools. If you don't have tools with you, we're going to draw together. So I'll take you for your word. You could pause this right now and go get your drawing tools so that we can draw this together. Now, what we're going to start with is the general idea here is just warming up. You might not have drawn all day, or maybe you're getting back from your day job or something like that, and now it's time to start working on your own projects. Sometimes you can feel a little stuck. So these classic warm-ups, we're going to do them together. It'll get your pencil moving and just kind of make you feel ready to keep drawing and get in that zone. So the Wednesday warm-up, we're going to start with, and I hope you have your pencil and your paper, or your pencil and pixels together here, because we're going to start with a classic scribble challenge. And how scribble challenge works is we're basically going to lightly scribble on the page here until you start to see something. Basically, what we're going to do here is I'm going to just lightly scribble, and you can make a shape like that. And you might see something right away. And I always say, if you do see the first thing that you see, you should draw that out. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Some people will keep scribbling until they start to see something forming, and they can just keep scribbling. Now, if you're on paper, you're going to want to do this very lightly so that you can go back and work on the darkening the image up. With an iPad, of course, you can just fade this image out. Let's drop another layer behind here, actually. Let's do that. Fade that out a little bit. Now, I'm not sure what you might have seen here. It just looks like a ball of mess, but that's the idea here also, is to try to get your imagination moving and kind of like looking and seeing what you see here. You can turn the page if you'd like. I'm going to kind of observe here live what I see. And it doesn't have to be perfect. This is just about getting the image out. I started to see some sort of face here, so I'm going to go ahead and darken this up. So like a brow line there, little nose, some kind of hair, right? Actually, I just started to, when you start to scribble a lot, you start to see a lot of hair. It's a little easy. I kind of see like a little larger face there, but maybe it's actually now 2 faces I see kind of peeking out. Like there may be, let's do that. They're standing side by side maybe. And again, this is about just kind of getting getting your imagination going, getting your pencil loose, right? It's a little pointy nose there, but again, it's not about perfection. This is just about, getting something to come out. Get your pencil loose. Doesn't have to be perfect, and sometimes it's rather quite silly. You can come up with ducks or dancing gnomes or something like that. I just see these kind of people. This guy looks like he's in a space helmet to me. I usually always kind of see science fiction. So here we have a helmet. Now it's looking like, maybe they're space explorers of some kind. All right. Yeah, scribble challenges are a lot of fun, and you can do this anywhere with a Post-it note, or if you're stuck at a day job or something like that, you can always scribble this out. And even if this is the only thing that you get to draw today, we're only going to spend, 5 to 10 minutes on a scribble drawing. And you can always just keep going. You could just keep fleshing it out if this is your project, just to post something to get yourself flowing. It's kind of fun. You never know. You never know what's going to show up. Now, I like to use these just as warm-ups, just for my Wednesday warm-up, because, like, again, I think it just kind of gets my imagination going. And that's kind of what it's all about. Getting the pencil loose when you're feeling stuck, things like that. And I could noodle away with this. This could be, a couple space explorers, maybe overlooking something, I don't know. It doesn't really have to make sense. Maybe they're part of the Space Force, All right. Yeah, so there you go. That's a really quick scribble challenge. And again, I could probably just keep doing these because these are a lot of fun to do. If you find yourself feeling stuck, this is a really, really great thing to do. As a matter of fact, you'll see in some of my other videos, I talk about this. They talk about this in like art class, basic art class sometimes, or, high school art class, doing these, but it actually came from something that Leonardo da Vinci used to do with his students. And he practiced sapere vedere, which is learning how to see. This is the phenomenon called pareidolia, which you start to see things in like cracks or trees or clouds, things like that, and then you draw out the image. So that's what the kind of fun thing is about the scribble challenge here. And the next exercise we're going to do is, I like to have a drawing prompt. Now, at the Draw or Die Club, we have daily drawing prompts that come out. We have daily and weekly drawing prompts. Now, the daily prompts are subscription-based, but the weekly prompts are free. They're in the newsletter. I'll link to the newsletter below. Oops, I started to... I started to delete my scribble there. How about that? I like to have a drawing prompt also before I start into my project. So usually it's a phrase, and how we work it with the Draw or Die Club is it's usually a prompt like a phrase. Like today's, for the 30th, is Huck Finn was at it again. Sometimes it might be something like, the sun is shining over the city, right? And then you're just supposed to visualize what that is. Now, in this case, I've added a couple, some visual reference of what Huck Finn looks like. We'll get into that in a second. I'm going to draw him out. And again, just kind of use my imagination. We're only a few minutes in here. And how these prompts work is you just think about that prompt. And I turn these layers off and then I'll draw it out. But you just think about the prompt, and the first thing, again, just like the scribble challenge, whatever comes to mind, you want to start to just kind of flesh that out. And I'm going to show you how I do that with Huck Finn. So if you're not familiar with Huckleberry Finn, it's a classic book, Tom Sawyer, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. He was in that. He's Tom Sawyer's best friend. From what I know and remember of Huck Finn, he was kind of like the adventurous kid, maybe the poor kid in the neighborhood that like played with, went hunting in the woods and didn't have much, but always found some sort of adventure in his life. So in the book Huckleberry Finn, he helps a slave escape, things like that. So it's a classic story. I really highly recommend it. A classic American adventure from Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens, right? And so here we have this adventurous young guy. Well, I thought for the prompt today, I would visualize Huck Finn older. So Huck Finn, old Huck was at it again. Maybe he just continued his adventures. I'm going to go ahead and turn this reference layer off. And if you need to look up more, Google image search, like kind of coming around here. I noticed this one. He's kind of wearing he's kind of using a corncob pipe, so I like that as well. And just kind of the outdoorsy kind of kid. So whenever I'm drawing these, and by the way, if you want to draw this version of Huck Finn. And if you do, then go to any social platform of your choice, or right here on YouTube, and hashtag Draw or Die Club. And then other members of the club will find you and support each other. And that's kind of what the Draw or Die Club is all about. And so in this case, I'm going to go ahead and switch this back to a darker gray. And I always like to kind of start with a little tiny composition. Oh, would help if I'm on the right layer, right? Too many layers, as my friend Rich would say. All right, so I just like kind of sketch out a little tiny thumbnail. I don't know if you can't really see that too bad, but too well there. All right, so it's a little tiny sketch here. I just like to kind of figure out the composition, the shapes. Like, so in this case, I'm going to draw Huck Finn a little older, and this is just like a little pose. So I'm going to get some energy here out of my hand. Maybe he's got his hand on his hip. He's overlooking something. Maybe he's got his hand out over here. He's holding something. So I'm just getting the basic shape, right? He's going to have that hat on that we looked at there. And at this point, I'm trying to also challenge myself to access that visual memory. I saw that hat a couple minutes ago. I'm going to try to remember that hat from memory. This also kind of keeps your brain sharp. So yeah, that's kind of the thing. I think he might have like a rifle or something, right? Yeah, I don't know, like a musket. And then whatever's going to be around him. We'll get into that in a minute. I've got a couple ideas already that what I kind of want to do. So that's just like a real look at that. That's nothing right now, right? But I'm going to zoom that out. And you can do those little sketches. Sometimes I do them on Post-it notes. I'm just going to blow that up a bit. And then I'll just fade that out. It's the nice thing about digital is you can just like take a picture of a Post-it note and then pop it into your iPad or your Cintiq or whatever magical tool you're drawing with. But for me, I like to, I use the iPad here, and I've also got my digital brushes that kind of mimic the settings of, or mimic the feel, not the settings of a pencil, but mimic the feel of the pencil that I'm drawing with. In this case, this pencil kind of really tries to mimic a black wing. Pass it here. See, I've got this basic shape here, so I'm just going to kind of start drawing out the torso. Now I got to remember that he's older now, so, and I got to kind of figure out what does he look like if he's older. So this young kid, grizzled kid turned into maybe a grizzled old man, maybe. So we're gonna get there. And I'm just gonna set my thought is I want to be done with this in about 10 minutes or so, something like that. So, and I don't know if he has big ears or not, but from what I saw there, but when you get older, the things that keep growing are your ears and your nose, they say. So he's going to have some big old earlobes. Let's give him a nice kind of a puckered nose there. First, you got to kind of give the expression, I guess. He's a little confident, a little cocky still, maybe. And then we'll add the wrinkles in for his becoming an old man. I don't think I'm going to ink this today, but, All right, I'm going to give him some... I'm just going to give him some long hair. So start looking like a pirate. Why not? Why not? And then, you know, got to work on this hat thing. And he's going to have his corn cob pipe, right? Knock that out. Yeah, so I mentioned the Draw or Die Club. That's our weekly newsletter, a little community of visual storytellers, visual artists from all over. So we've got a lot of comic book artists. We've got tattoo artists, animators, a whole bunch of different folks in that group. And it's really also different skill levels. So there's professionals, there's aspiring people in that group. It's basically just a little virtual drawing club. Kind of do it at your own pace sort of deal. And some people do the weekly drawing prompts. In October, we did a Promptober drawing challenge. Gave away some prizes from some cool brands like Field Notes and Blackwing pencils and a lot of Sketchboard Pro, Dango products. Man, we had a lot of cool prizes, and just to kind of, you know, add a little incentive for the people that have took part and drew all of the October prompts. So that we just kind of carried that on with, you know, when that prompt month was over, people were like, oh, now we're sad and we got to wait till next October to draw. No. Big part of the Draw or Die club is to motivate you to draw every day. Whether that's just those little scribble challenges or a daily drawing prompt or, you know, some warm-up sketching, and hopefully maybe you're working on your own project of some kind. Maybe it's a comic book or, you know, paintings, digital paintings, tattoo designs. We've got a couple sticker people just to kind of motivate you to get going. It's definitely not a how to draw club. I'll say that because, like, I'm not that great of a drawing teacher, let's say. More motivational than anything. So I think all styles are welcome. We even have some, you know, stick figure art, cartoons. I like to draw on just different styles. If you learn something by watching me, I don't know. Great. But you could see how I added the hand there first, and then kind of connected the body, connected the elbow. I kind of draw through because that might be his muscle underneath, and then I'll put a shirt over it. Maybe a little cuff there. Try not to overthink this part too much. It's just supposed to be kind of a shirt that's kind of unbuttoned, you know, maybe a little frayed. Old Huck Finn doesn't have a lot of money to get a haircut, or he's on some kind of adventure here. So the prompt today again was old Huck Finn. Or Huck Finn was at it again. So he's always getting into good trouble, they said. It's been a long time since I've maybe seen those movies or read that book. But I kind of remember, you know, I think there was a murderer on the loose or something, and they were hiding in caves. The guy was hiding in a cave, maybe Injun Joe or something like that. And he helped the people capture the killer. And of course, would always kind of take Tom Sawyer on some adventures. Tom was kind of the city boy, I guess you could say, the industrious entrepreneur type, Tom Sawyer. And these are just classic American novels, great American novels, I guess. Iconic characters from American literature. Mark Twain. So there we go. We got this. What do we got? It's getting there. Now, so for these Wednesday warm-ups, I'm probably only going to keep them to about a half an hour. So and that way you can kind of get moving on your other projects or whatnot. You can continue to keep watching me draw if you'd like. But if I don't quite finish this page, because now that my imagination's kind of flowing, I'm thinking like, well, he's older. What kind of adventures did Huck Finn get into? And again, you know, my mind always kind of goes to like science fiction or supernatural stuff. So when I said he was in those caves, you know, maybe he ended up finding a cave entrance to like the inner earth, or like the hollow earth or something like that. He's gonna have some boots. Right. And don't sweat it if you can't draw all this stuff. I mean, I'm not drawing it perfectly either. Just kind of drawing from memory and not really using a whole lot of, you know, reference. That's kind of the exercise, right? You want to get your brain moving, access the memories that you have of the things that you might have seen in the past. So I'm always observing things as an artist and kind of just watching things around me. And it's a really good skill to have, especially when you're stuck somewhere. You have to be patient if you're in a waiting room or, you know, stuck in traffic the other day. You can try to just kind of zone out and just observe things and see how things are formed. So I'm going to go ahead and put his pants up here. He's going to have some raggedy pants. So he doesn't really care. He doesn't care about his... He needs good boots, I'd say, because he's adventuring somehow. Make sure he has decent boots to wear. And then we're going to give him some kind of... Or I don't know if we should put the gun... rifle of some kind. You know what? Let's just be anti-gun for a minute. Maybe just say he has a walking stick. Not to be politically correct or anything, but he probably has a cool walking cane of some kind that he could use as a weapon to whatever. But yeah, so old Huck Finn here, maybe he found the... no, I'll start to fade out that bottom layer a little bit more so you can see the drawing a little bit better. Yeah, so maybe old Huck Finn here is, you know, adventuring in the underworld, let's say. You can see there, I kind of moved that a little bit. Still in the caves. Those deep tunnels under the earth. Who knows where they go? But I can already kind of feel my imagination kind of cooking here as far as what's he doing down there, and maybe some stalactites for a background. Real simple, you know, cave type stuff back there. I can get in there and shade that in a little bit. Again, these are just composition type sketches, warm-ups. This is the Wednesday warm-up. And these drawing prompts, you could flesh them out more if you'd like. Put them up online. Put them on your socials or little work in progress ditties. But the idea is just to draw every day. Make sure that you're drawing every day. The prompts help. There's many free prompts online, or you could just write your own in advance. That's another trick that I tell people to do. Like, set yourself a reminder list of like 30 things, or maybe have someone else write them for you. And you never know what's going to show up. But to keep yourself accountable, that you might draw what's in an actual prompt list of the Draw or Die community, then we kind of like that. I'm going to go ahead and put some bandages or something on his arm there. Yeah. He doesn't look very impressed, does he? He's like, nah, whatever. Whatever, guys. Maybe back here in the shadows, it's like... Maybe back here in the shadows, there's like a giant or something hiding. If I were to digitally paint that now, if you have more time and you're feeling it, in this case, if I was only limiting myself to 10 minutes or 15 minutes of drawing this, I might get into it. Might mix it up a little bit, put myself some sort of earthy tone there, and gouache brush, and kind of get underneath that and give it some, paint it in, give it a little color. All right. It's also an excuse to kind of like play with brushes and things that you usually don't use, maybe. But I like this gouache brush, and I like watercolor brushes a lot. Can just darken this up a little bit more in the back. Right. Then I might get in here and kind of digitally paint him out a little bit on top of that. A nice little flesh tone. Yeah, you can get into some digital painting here pretty easy. It's a fun, again, kind of just a fun thing to do. But for the purpose of the warm-up, I'm not going to get into a full-on digital illustration here. So we're just going to keep it with a simple warm-up drawing of old Huck Finn kind of adventuring in a cave, and that's the Wednesday warm-up exercises. Just another plug here to say you want to join the Draw or Die Club, and if you do the drawing prompt together, or if you do your warm-up sketches, or if you found this helpful in any way, make sure you give the video a like, subscribe, and if you draw the actual Huck Finn drawing, make sure that you hashtag the Draw or Die Club on social, and it will allow the other members of the club to find you and encourage you and just kind of keep everybody motivated. And that's kind of what it's all about. I'll always have the links in the descriptions if you're interested in checking out the Draw or Die Club. The cat's getting up. She's waking up she's ready to draw and get going. But yeah, I'll always have links in the description to everything. As always, I hope you stay encouraged out there, and I hope that you draw every day. We'll see you soon. We'll see you next Wednesday, or maybe on the podcast on Thursday night, or on the video on Fridays. We'll see you really soon here on the channel. Back to the drawing board for me, and I hope back to the drawing board for you too. See you soon.